whether to show some interest in taking the right side in Britain, which is, I believe, in my opinion, it's irreversible. They really cannot, in my opinion, or ultimately to step down. Now, stepping down for these people, I would say probably is not even an option. They would lose a lot of money, more money they could gamble if they would go and gamble entire life, every day, 24 hours for the rest of their lives, I think, than what it is in Great Britain. I mean, shouldn't you perhaps do it this way so we can move on together? Because you see, the more that you do stuff like this, the more you produce news like this, what you're basically doing is you're pushing our own nations. You're pushing country that is twice as big as United States away of America away from us white nations. I mean, is it really this British royals, do they really matter so much when they're gonna annihilate us all? When their xenofascist politic is politic of failure. This is a politic without any future, without any chance, without any prosperity. It only leads into enslavement. And it leads into enslavement through exactly what you see here in this page. It's pretty brutal today on the streets of London and elsewhere. It's pretty damn brutal. And in the end, it leads into self-annihilation. I mean, I'm not going to even talk about what exactly would it take to implement, to instill xenofascist mentality, attitude in average European. We're never ever going to comply with it. You got maybe 1% of the white population, in the worldwide population, that is vain towards xenofascism, that approves xenofascism, and those are, for the most part, so-called Christians. It embedded itself in Judeo-Christian, so-called Judeo-Christian society. Okay, is it worth it? I mean, is it worth it when this is the road to nowhere? If you like what you see in the United States of America, free speech so violated, U.S. veterans, the only people that dare to open their mouths, that stay afterwards jobless for the rest of their lives. If this is what is appealing to you, I guess then continue to support this Buckingham Palace. This is the road to nowhere, which is, it's heading to self-annihilation. This is the war, listen, this is the war that nobody's going to win. This is the war not Russia, not China can possibly win. And believe me, this is the war that America and Great Britain are not going to win either. They're going to take down, like I said, these people are going to take down. This is the big difference between me, in that quote, between the way I saw it and between the way they see themselves as, because they're going to take down the whole humanity, folks. That's their attitudes, that's their mentality. Now, the rest of it, the stuff that I'm going to talk about, we already have talked about this here. You can see, you can read this news for yourself. It's quite actually impressive about, it's not that I would go and that I would want, that I would approve any kind of bullying, any kind of challenging, any kind of, insistence, on the World War III. It's exactly why I'm doing this documentary. I'm doing it to prevent one. But the only way to prevent one is, like Putin said, it's to be basically objective. It's basically to report things as the way they are. And not bully and not challenge and not ridicule somebody and lie. There's plenty of lies about him, about his wives, about Kim Jong's wives and this and that. How do you guys know all this? Are you over there actually? Do you have reporters in Korea? I would like to know how many of you are driving around and doing the interviews with him, and where are you obtaining all this information, if not only the information that he releases one to the public. Actually, his press releases one to the public. There's a lot of stuff going on. Okay. Now, when it comes to this war, okay, this situation, World War III situation, which North Korea is used to expand. This actually is the war against China and Russia, and they're using North Korea as a, it's like a tipping point. It's like British are trying to determine whether the Russians and Chinese are gonna back down. If they're gonna refrain themselves, from basically expanding, I guess, their technology, their advancement, with pretty much civilization, if you like. And so they're trying to bully, intimidate, see where the borders are and this and that. Folks, the borders end in self-destruction. I'm telling this to all of you. To all the sides is basically what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, I'm going to repeat to you, my stand is the same one as the stand of Vladimir Putin. And that's pretty much, folks, that you have to be objective when you report the news. You have to see the two sides of the coin. I'm sorry, and not only one side, not only the side that is depicted to you from the Buckingham Palace. Okay, and so what shocks me, by the way, I was gestured to take a soft stand on European leaders regarding this. The fact is, I can't. Okay, I can't. This warning comes from France. Okay, I'd like to appeal to French people, if they realize at all what it means to give the information out, that in respect to 3 months. How do you know 3 months what is going to be in 3 months? And let me ask you a question. Do you know how misleading this information is? I would appeal to Russians and to Chinese especially, to be very attentive, to be very, do not be disturbed with information, with a 3-month information, as if 3 months this and that. Why is this thing happening? Why is this whole thing happening? This thing is happening because European Union politicians, since the journalists are not doing their job, are taking what they believe is going to be seen as a neutral stand. However, this is not neutral stand. You know what is happening, and presenting yourself as a neutral, not condemning, and I should say strictly condemning, Buckingham Palace and Washington, D.C. politics, is just a ruthless mistake. Okay, this is just, I'm going to say, a total disaster. Because there is no such thing as being neutral when you watch somebody basically threatening with annihilation, with a total annihilation of Northern Korea. By the way, Kim Jong never threatened with annihilation of United States of America. He threatened with annihilation of Guam, which is about 200 square miles island in the middle of the nowhere, loaded with the nukes, while United States of America have repeatedly, pathologically, sickening, threatened to wipe out nation of North Korea. Now that's a big difference. Are you going to wipe out quite a few millions of people, and another one of wiping out a little island in the middle of the Pacific? Which I do not approve either. Just so we're going to understand each other, that I'm not approving any of that stuff. But all in all, when it comes to this, I would say, because you're journalists, you're talking about the journalists are not doing your job, just like Putin said. He's warning, he's crying over there, he's asking you for help, he's begging you to be objective about it. And you politicians, if journalists don't do it, but of course journalists are controlled anyways by the politicians, that's what the mainstream media is. If you're watching this happening, and you're watching a really, really bad guy, you know, doing this stuff in front of your eyes, and you're taking what you see as neutral stand, in that case, you're actually more guilty than the one that is presenting himself as a good guy, or I should say, are presenting themselves as good guys. That individual, like let's say Donald Trump, might be suffering from some pathological disease. You don't really know what is inside of the Trump's head or John McCain's head or Buckingham Palace, let's say Prince Charles' head and others over there. You don't know what these people are suffering from. You have no clue about what is inside of their heads. But you know that they are getting ready to do something very bad. They're getting for the World War III that is going to take us down. And you practically do nothing about it is just really unacceptable. Look, I'm not defending Kim Jong in any way. Okay, I'm not defending any the politics of aggression in any possible way. And I'm going to repeat that, the launching missile over Japan is just it was just really a bad idea. Okay, things did go way too far. Let's put it this way. But I am appealing to you, leaders, German, French, who see themselves as the leaders of the European Union, to take the stand on this, for God's sakes. To take the fair stand on this, because I know that economic interests are extremely important. But I also know that the politics that is implemented from Washington, D.C. through the Buckingham Palace on throughout European Union, like I have stated, is leading to absolutely nowhere. This is the politics of the self-destruction, and I frankly, I am expecting you guys to take a stand, a firm stand against the Washington politics, and ask simply Washington and Buckingham Palace, to please refrain themselves from escalating the war. I should say the World War III. Is it really that we want to place our existence in the hands of a bunch of lunatics that are willing to gamble, that are willing to throw entire humanity like a dice on the roulette to see what's going to come out? I mean, is this really like the role of the politicians? As you guys are world politicians. Is this actually the stand that you guys want to take? Because being neutral in this case actually means to be more guilty, way more guilty than the one that is doing it all. This is the stuff that did not happen in one day. This is the stuff that did not happen in 1 week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. This is like Putin said, this started already in 70s. And for God's sakes, this is true. Embracing the human rights in so-called human rights in Philippines that would protect criminals in engaging with criminal drug cartels against the Filipino people, that's not perhaps exactly the type of direction that you want to be, seen as that you have taken, historically, let's say, with United States of America, I should say, on behalf of United States of America. And this is the stuff that also concerns so-called sanctions. And before we're going to get to sanctions on North Korea, okay, before we're going to get to sanctions on North Korea, we should ask ourselves about the sanctions on Russia, which, by the way, I would say completely insane, deluded United States of America is asking Russia to implement against Northern Korea. Isn't that really, really, really insane? I mean, it's the US that implemented sanctions on Russia. They are demanding European Union to take the same stand and economically destroy Russia, and they are asking Russians and Chinese to implement sanctions on Northern Korea, folks. Does this make sense to you? This is how Kim Jong is depicted. And don't worry, he's not the one who is depicted like this. We are all depicted like that. We all are depicted like this. This is Guam, and I had to put here at least something, a dot, so that one can be actually seen on the map, because on the map you cannot actually even see one. This is just a little island, it's what it is. Tiny little island, okay? And this is a North Korea. Okay, so United States of America is trying to present that taking out 200 miles island for that price, Northern Korea should be taking out. And I agree. I do not support any aggression on Guam, even that this is island loaded with the nukes. This is island that is just loaded with the weapons that can be used and might even be used to destroy everything that you see here, including the countries that support the United States of America, and that's pretty much Southern Korea and Japan. This is definitely the stuff I would love Northern Korea to refrain itself from in the future, like shooting missiles over Japan is just totally unacceptable. It's totally dangerous and it's totally counterproductive, is how I would say. You got Russia here, and you got plenty here. You got China, China Sea, and so on. And you can make an arrangement with them, and they're going to let you practice your firework, whatever. Let me put it this way, okay? Shooting in a neighbor's backyard is probably not going to make your neighbor very happy about it, okay? And when you shoot over his house, probably that's not going to make him happy either. Well, this here, as you can see, with the newspapers, I got few of these articles here just to show you. And this is just few. I mean, the stuff that I read in the past 2 weeks, it was just unbelievable. North Korean soldiers ordered to steal corn because war is imminent, okay? And that really makes me think that it's a total lunacy, but when I think about the partisans, how they fought in World War II, how they were forced to steal corn from the fields to survive, it makes me actually think that it's a part of the exercise that they are using to prepare soldiers on what could possibly be guerrilla warfare. Let's go to the next news. Although it might seem insane, I can assure you it's not exactly like this. This individual is not insane. But you can see here the articles, and this is not the only one. It's basically the same politics, it's the same politicians, it's the same thing that are just thrilled. They just can't wait to get into World War III. It's like Putin said, Putin almost cried to you, begging you, asking you to wake up, be objective about it. It seems to me that the journalists, that they are like under some kind of MK Ultra program or something like that. They're just dying, starving, for the news, like Typhoon Hato, for example. Seems like they live in like Twilight Zone world, like it's almost surreal about the news that we witness, and all this news that was already implemented under Obama. I remember the Comet Ison and maybe satellites that are cruising, circling in orbit, and they're just about to fall at any time, at any place on Earth, etc., etc. It's pretty insane. And you involve even NASA in the stuff like this, in the news like that. Totally incredible, totally unreliable. But here we are at this news here that's it's pretty damn crazy. I mean, they expect Russia to implement sanctions against North Korea, while they actually are exercising sanctions on Russia. They want to destroy Russia. They want to destroy. I mean, I don't have any word other than they are trying to destroy Russia at all costs and asking Russia to implement sanctions on Northern Korea and China and so on. I'm actually fascinated with this American lunacy. I have to say this. I can't call this anything else than a lunacy. Such a criminal attitude that I see, that they're just so disconcerted for the fellow U.S. citizens. I'm going to take my own case. The stuff that was done to me, the stuff that I have gone through, and completely, the attitude that my fellow citizens have displayed for me is just totally incredible. And it's exactly the same thing that we see here. They continue to, we have expectations from you. They isolate Russia. They do anything they can possibly do to the Russia, and in the end, they come up and in the face, they actually dare to say to Russia, we are expecting from you something. You see what I'm trying to say to you, European leaders? I mean, are you getting the point? That you're trying to wake up what kind of attitude this is? I mean, I'm not stupid. Believe me, Russians are not stupid, and Chinese are not stupid either. This is the politic that firmly leads toward the World War III. This is from one of the newspapers, the news that I managed to gather, and the worst one, you cannot even see one here. I don't know. I was trying to find one. I deeply regret that I did not record it, but what? North Korea targeting Japan. PM warns Kim Jong-un missile can strike UK and Europe. Thanks, UK. I am in Europe, so I guess thanks to you, I will be annihilated. Pictures show grim in face of war maniac and celebrates missile launch and stuff like that. Look, this news is also surreal. This is also a lunacy news. I mean, it's what Northern Korea does. In Northern Korea, actually, in the world as we have, in a world that is so non-objective, that is so biased world, it's nobody's business. Okay, if they develop nuclear options or whatever the hell they're developing, let's not forget Israel have almost in Europe over 400 nukes. Therefore, whatever country is doing within their own sovereignty, within their own borders, is nobody's business. And I'm using this news to suggest to you that they have questioned even if Russia, suggested that Russia should refrain itself from posting military within their borders. Whether they should, how dare do they, let's say, move their military close to the Baltic states or close to the Ukrainian border or whichever border? Isn't that effing crazy? I mean, wouldn't it be nice if United States of America would do the same thing as Russia is doing, instead of going like all over the world and cause mass and destruction? And in Afghanistan, in Iraq, all over the Middle East, Africa, and so on. European leaders, your neutral stand is deeply unappreciated. You must take the stand, you must take a firm stand against the politics of self-annihilation, of destruction, because that's what American NATO politics represent today. They are really a threat to the world. Let's go down a little bit. And I have mentioned before, I might have forget in all this excitement that I'm reporting this news. This started in the 70s and it never stopped. It was exactly like Putin said. Dialogue here means nothing to Americans, as you have seen John McCain. I mean, we can invade any country, we can do this, we can do that. I mean, European Union politicians, Merkel, Macron, Italian politicians, all other politicians, if lives of your citizens, of your people, us, are dear to you, then you should take that strong stand against, and start taking the side that is lean, that is tipped in our direction, in our interests. Otherwise we will destroy ourselves. I don't know if there are more or not. This news here is shocking to me. This is very, very much unwanted news, creating some kind of paranoia, giving out some kind of information based on which you do not have proof. And you, as a France, you don't even really know, to be honest, you don't even know what is going on over there in heads of the people in Buckingham Palace and in Washington, D.C. You are not actually even real partner to begin with what is taking place over there. This is unappreciated. If you want to help, step out and simply condemn this type of World War III politics. I'm asking you, I'm actually begging you. And yeah, this newspaper, this is fascinating. I guarantee you, you can, whichever video you're going to go, it's going to end with Typhoon Hato. There you go. And I have another one that I have preserved for that reason. The same thing. It's
This is Typhoon Hato. It's called.
Yeah, Hato. Yeah. Let me. Yeah, reload this page. Yeah, it's quite fascinating. But you can see here up next, weatherman gets swept off typhoon. But it doesn't matter. You can even take.
This is Typhoon Hato. It's called the highest level of alert.
You can take any kind of news, tourist news or whatever you take. You're gonna end up with this same video because they're like really, really pushing forward. They're really, really trying to, dispatch certain news to somebody. I guess they definitely not dispatch the one that they wanted to. They did definitely not dispatch one to me because I have few words to say to you face to camera, face to face with camera.
Also interesting news that was released along other news regarding British-American couple. American husband sent home due to some visa restrictions, I understand.
Here, regarding American-British couple, I'm going to put it this way, okay? This news truly is designed, to trigger in us something that appears to me more and more never exists. Okay, yeah, I'm definitely talking about news that was related previously to South Africa. You're talking about pensioners, elderly people that were repatriated, expelled from either it was Britain or it was Australia back to South Africa and so on. It seems to me as the news that would want to trigger in us, like I have suggested, something that does not exist. I should say exists. Something, news, Twilight Zone news, Comet Isis, Princess Diana, Twilight Zone news, unrealistic, unreal news almost, I would say, to disrupt, to deter, attention in which, our thoughts should be directed to the dead end street, because when you want to talk to me about the British-American couple, for whom I have stated you're going to have, both of you are going to have exactly as much as you are willing and will reserve to yourself, talking about the right to reserve to yourself dignity versus what you have, which is a total tyranny. You have allowed this to happen. They have created, you felt comfortable going along this path, and so you're going to have to resolve these things on your own. The main thing is that other people don't get, other nations don't get affected. I should say that they minimize, what you have created, so they don't get destroyed by what you have created. And really, the main thing is that we don't get disrupted. People like, let's say, Mr. Putin and other people, they don't pay attention to something that appears to be more and more does not even exist. Not only what you have seen have happened on my page, Washington marching against genocide of whites in South Africa, when, well, people have expressed support for rape, slavery, abductions, beatings of Eastern European women, but also such aggressive, dangerous politics, Washington, Buckingham Palace politics, that is leading entire world into the self-destruction. Very disrespectful, extremely aggressive. In respect to British-American couple, what we should feel, the sympathy, empathy for these people, I am just going to remind Polish, Romanian, Lithuanian, Latvian, Estonian, Czech, Slovak, Hungarian. Future, maybe one day to be, which probably is not going to come even through, Ukrainian people, that Eastern European people are viewed in Great Britain, I should say categorized, placed in the same category as Muslims, as groomers, child rapists, Sharia law spreaders. They are unwanted. They consider them as thieves, as lazy, as no good. Romanians are classified as gypsies. Me, myself, when in Miami, first time, when I came in touch with social engineers from United States at one-stop workplace, job center, was classified ongoingly by these American authorities as a Slav, as no good. They have faced me and they have shown me literally dictionary and have brainwashed me repeatedly that I am actually nothing else than member of the group of the people that whose name Slavs is related to the word slave. And this is what our origins are, slaves. This is what pretty much is who and what we are. And since I'm from Slovenia, it didn't stop there, okay? Since I'm from Slovenia, the word Slovene is related to the word Slovenian is related to the word Slovene, and that's the word that is, if translated against from this British, from a royal dictionaries, this high English linguistic society, a dirty, I don't actually have words for it. You have to look yourself that in dictionary, and then you're going to see if I'm saying to you the truth or not. Okay, the fact is that these Polish workers and Eastern European workers, including myself, we're all expected to side against Sharia, against the Islam, against the Muslims, together with British, together with this Americans, let's say with this American couple. And we do. I did as much as I could. But then again, in return, I didn't get really any compassion for anything that US government have conducted against me. None from fellow American citizens, none, because I guess that I am just not, I don't know, Anglo or something like this. I was not, and I'm not the only. It does not only pertain to the Slavic people. This thing, Eastern Europeans, it goes the same to the French. French are viewed as a gypsies. Louisiana, French Canada, Quebec area, Eastern Canada, Canadians, not wanted by, you know whom? By the Buckingham Palace. Yes, I'm just reminding you of what you guys are talking with one another behind the curtain in private. And it goes the same to Italians and everybody else. It's, extremely divisive politic that I think that doesn't have any future for the white people. It's aggressive and it leads to self-annihilation, not preservation of our race, and is depicting us through this hateful politics, through this xenofascist politic as a race that doesn't know anything else than, destruction. As a race that doesn't know anything else other than hatred. So I just want to say this, and I would really expect from, European Union leaders, as you guys are mature enough, that my stating these facts to you that every European knows, that everyone is aware of. By the way, nothing like this is really happening over there in Germany and France, all through their, these British Anglos are trying hard to do so. I think it's publicly that you should take the stand. Okay, we don't want to become part of something that it truly is the road to nowhere. That is the road to the greater and greater and greater conflict, aggressiveness, and finally annihilation. Within the 30 years, we're talking about 70 years, but let's say within the 30 years, you guys actually think realistically that Chinese and Russians could not develop something that will destroy United States and Britain, that you actually have such a shield, that you actually have such a technology that you can actually stop all the weapons that they have created to counter your aggressiveness. You guys actually believe this? Are you completely out of your mind? There's about 1.5 billion Chinese alone, and then you have Russians, and all the assembly technology is based in China. It's technology that supplies European Union, entire world, United States of America, so-called, make America great again and beyond. And you guys think that these people could not come up with something that is gonna actually not only totally neutralize you, but hurt you big time. If not, definitely we're all gonna die with this kind of politics. There's just no way that we Europeans gonna survive with this. It's just crazy. I mean, if you like to gamble, do so at your expense, not at your nation's expense, not at the expense of us, that we're going to die because of the lunatics like you. I expect of the European Union politicians to take firm ground, strong stand against this type of politics, because the politics are leading us to nowhere. There are good British people. I think the British people are awesome people, beautiful people. And I think the same for American people. I've seen this beautiful movement, this anti-Rothschild movement. And it's the movement that has got to grow, that has got to go on. If we want that British-American couple back together, then we have to get rid of that Buckingham Palace, Rothschilds, basically this Zio fascists that are ruining us. Few million against almost 8 billion, folks. I think we can do it. All right, thanks for watching this video. Till next time.